Good afternoon. Today what we're going to do is have a quick little video on how you can work with the task object within Salesforce's Analytics Cloud. So for those of you who are familiar with a task is really nothing more than an activity. But the task object within Salesforce is a little interesting object because it can be related to potentially any number of objects within Salesforce. So here within the Salesforce Lightning experience, I can see that all of my tasks, whether it's associated to a lead, mutual close plan, which is for an account or an opportunity, if I really want to see what a task can be associated to, I just come back down to the related list and we can see it could be an account, it could be an asset, a campaign, a case, an opportunity, a claim, any number of different objects I can have a task associated to. Now for this presentation, we're going to focus on tasks that are associated to an account, as well as to an opportunity, as well as understanding who the task is actually assigned to. So if I want to surface this within the Analytics Cloud, all I need to do is first of all come over to my Analytics Cloud, Wave Analytics. So when I come into my Wave Analytics environment, I can already see that I have a lot of information existing here. I have certain apps that are built out for sales or service. I have some dashboards, no lenses, and some existing data sets. But as I can see in my list of data sets, I don't have any one built out yet for my activities. So let's go ahead and create a new data set. As I do that, I can understand if I had third-party data, how I can work with my partners to bring that information in. If I had a very simple CSV file, I can bring that in. But right now, for this exercise, we are going to work with Salesforce data, so I select Salesforce. As I do that, I want to start selecting the objects I want to work with. So I'm going to select task, and the next thing I need to do is understand what it needs to be related to. So I'm going to join it to an account, I'm going to join it to assign to, and I also want to join it to opportunities. And I could assign it to cases or leads or anything else, but for this exercise I'm going to keep it to account, the user, and the opportunity. The next thing I need to do is understand what fields I want to have brought over as well. So when I do this, I'm just going to do this very quickly. Okay, now that I've made those selections, I've decided to grab 17 fields from the task, and now I also am bringing in a few fields from the account, some from the actual assigned to, the user, really just their name, and then also some information from the opportunity as well. Now that I've made that decision, what I need to do is simply create a data set. I need to give it a name. I'm just going to call it task. And for right now, I'm going to make it private. Alright, so now that we have successfully brought over our data over from Salesforce, let's understand what we have. So if we come back to all, right, we still have the same apps, dashboards, and lenses, but now I have an additional data set, and that data set is called task. So if I needed to, I could start to explore this. So right now I'm starting with a count of rows, and if I want to say group this by the individuals who have performed the actual activity, I can scroll down and I can go to maybe assign to name. It's going to first sort by alphabetical order by the individual who's been working on this task, but right now I want to understand who's been really working the hardest, so I'm going to resort that, and I can see that Anthony Cohn by far has done the most work. That's all well and good. The next thing I want to understand is, okay, what about by account? So I'm going to change this grouping from assigned to name to the account name. And I can see that the most work we've done has been with advanced communications. And if I needed to, I can do a little exploration here to say, you know what, maybe what I want to do is understand is this associated to maybe multiple opportunities or to some other information. So I'm going to come over here and just look for opportunity, and I'm going to find opportunity name. Here we go. And I can see that all those different activities are spread across multiple opportunities that I have with advanced communications. But what I really wanted to do is go back to the first one, so I use my little breadcrumbs I can see it by person, by account, or the last one was actually by, in this case, one particular opportunity. But if I take out that account name out of the filter, it would show me the activity against all the different opportunities I have within the system. But I'm going to come back to the first one, because what I want to do is, while this ability to explore is great, I want to create a very simple dashboard. So right now, the first one I'll do is activity by individual. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to clip this to designer. All right, I'm going to come back to my breadcrumb, and I'm going to find by account name. And I'm going to clip this to designer as well. Great. Now the next thing I also want to do is I want to group this activity by due date. And I want to do year, month, day. And I'm going to change the visualization to be more appropriate for something that's date, timeline. And I can see in this environment there's been a huge spike within the month of October. It must be our Q3 push. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to clip this to designer. So now that I've clipped that to designer, I'm going to come over to this activity tracker, and this is the beginning part of an actual dashboard. So the first thing I want to do is I want to add a chart. And I'm going to add a chart for the individuals who have performed the activities. I'll just drag it over here. All right, maybe drag it out a little bit. And then what I want to do is bring in another one for the activity on the accounts. And I'll just drag that, let's see. Actually, I described it backwards. Here is the individual first, right there. And now we have account as well. Now, a couple things I want to do is I want the ability to kind of easily filter this down, whether it's by date, by individual, maybe even by account as well. So far I just have something very simple. If I was to view the dashboard, right, by person, by account, but I don't have any filters built in, so let's go check that out. So I'm going to look at my lenses that I have right here. Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to bring in a date filter. So I'm going to click on this lens that I have, and I'm going to select the date component, and then select that one component. And I'm going to bring it right up here. And I'll make it maybe a little bit smaller. Alright, so now I can actually go from a particular day or down to a range of actual days. And the next thing I want to do is I want to understand the list of individuals. So I'm going to come over here, and I think this is my list of individuals. I want to create a list. I want to work off of this. I'll just bring that up here for right now, but what I want to do is I want to unexpand it. I want to unupstate instantly, and I want to make this potentially multi-select. Alright, and I want to do the same thing for the account, which is this one. And I'm going to go list again, select account, drag it over here. I'm going to unexpand it. I do not want to update instantly. Alright, so let's start looking at what this looks like. So I'm going to run this. So now, if I look at this, again we have Anthony Cohn, Cindy, Ricky, multiple accounts. If I come over here and just select Anthony Cohn and go update, well, it's just going to show me the records for Anthony Cohn and then the associated accounts that Anthony has activity against. If I want to actually change this on the time scale, right now I'm looking at years, I can go quarters, months, weeks, or days. I can just say maybe the past 60 days and update that. Well, the number of activities goes from 71 to 56, and again, appropriately down to the account side, that gets updated as well. And then I can get into maybe cleaning this up a little more aesthetically. What I'll do is I'll just drag this down, and I'll drag these over, right? Just some cosmetic stuff, easy to do. Just like Salesforce, it's very declarative, a lot of clicks and drags. And then maybe what I'll do is add in a text box. And I'll say something like, I don't know, activity tracker. Okay, and I'll make the font center, and I'll just make it a little bit bigger. Right, I'll make it 36. And I'll put it right here. All right, the owner ID name, if I want to change the title. All right, sales engineer. All right, if I want to do the same thing here, I don't want to use the title. This is, let's call it unique accounts. I'll just call this date range, activity date range. There we go. Now I do want to save this activity tracker. I'm going to save it in my private app. Go ahead and save it and run it. And now I have a very simple example of how I can bring Salesforce data over into the Analytics Cloud. I've created some kind of very simple examples, right, off of activity, all the activity for individuals associated to accounts. I wanted the ability to filter it, right? Did a very simple example right now by one individual, two individuals, right? I'll stick with Anthony, as well as the ability to get down into a particular account. Right, and now we have the ability as well to do our date range, and I'll just do all time for this example. And there you have it, a very simple process to have your Salesforce activity data in the Analytics Cloud. Thank you.